Hello, my friends. My name is Darren Gerdes, and here are the three big stories for today. It is Sunday, June 9th. Okay, so let's talk about NATO. NATO is about to have a big conference. Ukraine, as you know, is not part of NATO, and they're going to not invite Ukraine in, but they're going to create a special envoy post, it looks like. Now, this is like some liaison between NATO and Ukraine. It's not exactly NATO, but it's more than what other countries are. It's some kind of weird platypus version of what it should be, and everybody knows that had they been part of NATO, Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, but because they're not, and so those that don't want them to become NATO are thinking about maybe what they call a porcupine defense theory. A porcupine looks like this, and the idea here is that it's so prickly, it's so loaded down with weapons that Russia would never want to attack it. But I don't think that's what's going to come of it. I think in time what you'll have is full NATO membership, but that's not happening just yet. Okay, Jay in Kyiv. Putin erases yet another one of his red lines. And here's what it said in the ISW. Putin indirectly indicated that Ukraine strikes on Russian territory with Western-provided weapons do not cross a supposed Russian red line that would result in Russian nuclear escalation, which is what they've been promising. Putin stated that Russia's nuclear doctrine calls for Russia to only use nuclear weapons in the event of exceptional cases of threats of Russian sovereignty and territorial integrity. Putin stated that he does not think such an exceptional case has arisen. So there is no such need for Russia to use nuclear weapons. Well, we've crossed the red line, and he blinked. Nothing happened. Now, speaking of red lines, this is in the Toronto Star. This country just crossed a self-imposed red line in Russia's war on Ukraine. How could it change the conflict? Well, it's a good question. France is the first country to send its military personnel into Ukraine, but French President Emmanuel Macron said a coalition is being formed of like-minded countries willing to step across a self-imposed red line and get to work in the war zone. And that's what they need to do. They need to actually stop self-deterring and actually do what needs to be done. So far, Poland and the Balkan states, which are much closer to the fighting, have expressed a willingness to follow France's lead. Canada, too. I think they might have meant, instead of Balkan, they might have meant Baltic states, but okay. Canada, too, has at least left open that door after signing a 10-year security agreement during Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's visit to Kyiv in February. But the Canada-Ukraine Security Pact envisions Canadian troops returning to conduct associated training activities in Ukraine when conditions permit. What those conditions might be are not specified, and we're not sure if we're there yet, but okay. So we're talking about red lines. Putin blinked, and France is crossing them. The United States is crossing them. Multiple red lines are being crossed because Putin's been bluffing. So leave you with this. When Russians say, "Stop supporting Ukraine," NATO says, "I'm going to support Ukraine harder." If you watch The Office, you'll know what I'm talking about with Pam talking about stop dating my mom. And okay, but there we go. All right, thank you, my friends. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.